Hi there. Today I wanted to talk about the ABCs of finding focus. This was inspired by a mindfulness session that I did with an organization over the past month. There were a series of sessions and practices, and it was all around finding focus. They'd done an internal survey to ask what people needed right now in the midst of this pandemic, and focus was the number one thing that came up in the survey. And it makes a lot of sense. As I shared with them, we have research that shows even in normal times when we're not facing um, the craziness of this unprecedented time, we live in this VUCA world, which stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And it was a term coined by the military, but it's used in business all the time. You know, things are changing and it's on a higher and higher scale now than ever before. And what we have found, the research has shown, is that we are set up as human beings just on default mode to have our minds wander. They are floating away almost half the time, 48% of the time, it's been shown in fMRI research. And now during the pandemic, it's gotten even more so. We're hovering around 60% with some of the more recent research that's come out. So we know this is an issue. And focus is something all of us can cultivate more of. Even though our minds as humans are scanning the horizon for threats and wandering, we have the ability to bring ourselves back. And if we do it often enough, it's kind of like riding a bike. You know, it's a little bit wobbly at first, but then with more and more practice, it appears continuous and fluid. So in this very short video, I obviously am not going to share so many practices that I shared, in a month-long program. But as I really thought about it, I wanted to leave them with something that could just be kind of a go-to, and that's really what I want to share today because we need to start somewhere. And um, when we don't start somewhere, what ends up happening is it's a downward spiral, right? If we're not focusing, then we're not being as productive as we could be. We're not getting as much done, which is making us more stressed. And so we're taking on that stress. We're having less time because we're less productive. And then we're not having the social outlets or the exercise or more time with our family, all these things that are going to actually help us feel better. And when that happens, you might actually put more judgment on yourself because you're not focusing. And then you're focusing on blame and judgment and anger and these natural feelings that come up but aren't really what you want. And when we're operating from that place of negativity, we're not able to see possibilities. We're not able to be our most creative. We're not our best selves. So focus. And it's hard to create new habits. And so many of my clients say, I don't have time to add anything to my schedule. They say, don't ask me to meditate. Yeah, I'm not cut out for that, right? Well, I get that creating new habits is hard. It really is. But if we don't start new habits and don't take actions to change things, then we can't expect a new outcome. So for today, I'm going to start with something. I'm not even calling it meditation. We're going to be tapping into our breath, and we breathe 24,000 breaths a day. So they're always around and available to us if we're lucky to breathe freely. And so I invite you to think of this as mindfulness, not so much meditation, but really being able to just exert more control over something you naturally do all the time anyway. Now, as I always say, the first thing we need to do is decide that we want to change. If you want more focus, great. This will definitely help you. If you don't really care and you're not going to do it, then then it doesn't really matter what I'm going to share. So first decide that you care and that you're committed to doing something. And if you are, then that's great. You have a strong intention and that will start everything off flowing from there. Then we start small. We start with an achievable goal that we can meet and succeed. And research shows when we do that, surprise, we feel good about it, right? And so we show up again and again. When we start out with something too big and we don't meet it, then we feel like we failed and we run the other direction. So we start small, and that's why these ABCs are really helpful. So the first thing is A, and A is awareness. So we notice when we're distracted. Oh, we meant to work on this project and we've been flitting here and there, we're distracted. How are we going to get back on track? So first thing is just noticing that, being aware. And the second is the B, which is breathe. Breathe. Even stopping to take one breath helps. It sort of settles our mind. Well, we do this 3 breaths exercise, and it's something that is just invaluable for me. I do it continually throughout the day, and it really gets us to a place of focus very quickly in under a minute. On the first breath, you simply settle your mind. Maybe check in and see what's going on. You just listen to your breath and notice it. If it's ragged, if you're not breathing, kind of in a nice rhythmic flow, you're agitated, right? Listen to that. That's a truth serum. That's telling you something. The second breath, you breathe in, and as you're breathing out, really pay attention to your body. Pay attention, because the body is carrying stress and it carries information. So for example, let's say you're really, really nervous about a deadline that's coming up and it's due today, and you're feeling like time is running out. You may be feeling palpitations. You might be feeling anxious here in your heart area. You might be feeling heat. Now pay attention to that anxiousness, and breathe it out. And then on this third breath, this is really, really important. You breathe in as deeply as possible. And as you're breathing out, you ask yourself this one important question: what's most important right now? So you've started to settle your body, calm yourself, and you then really bring yourself to a focal point of what's most important right now. And that will go a long way to helping you then move on to C. And C is choose, right? So choose what you're going to do. And you may choose a distraction. You might say a welcome distraction right now would be a quick brisk walk, because that's really going to clear my mind. And I feel so much better when I do that. Or a cup of tea, right? I need to get away from this desk. This project is due, but I've been sitting here and I just need a break, right? And that's something that is completely your choice. And stepping away, slowing down for 5 minutes might be what you need to speed up and to really come back with renewed focus and vigor to finish that project and turn it in. So C is choose, and always know that you have a choice. No matter what, you have a choice. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time. When you do the ABCs, it's, 1, 2, 3. You've got some focus, and you can choose what action is going to serve you best in that moment going forward. And then the last thing that I invite you to do is to show up with an attitude of kindness and curiosity. So if it doesn't work right away, practice. Practice makes you better at anything that you're going to do. If you forget to do it, ask yourself, how can I remember? Maybe there's a ritual I can attach this to. When I get up to go to the bathroom, or when I'm starting to feel palpitations, I have this note, go to 3 breaths, that's sitting there waiting for you. Whatever it is, maybe you calendar it in, but whatever it is to help you remember, just go back and think about that, and use everything as with an attitude of kindness and curiosity to learn from it, and that'll keep you showing up and motivated to take it forward. So I hope that was helpful. And as always, if you want to discuss any of this, how I help you individually with more focus, or maybe your team or your organization, happy to discuss. I love sharing this in a big way, and really seeing the ripple effects that happen. So direct message me, or as always, you can go to mindfiremastery.com on my site and schedule some time on my calendar. And that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.